Hello.
Hi
So
there.
we're going to do the tight 10 minutes.
Okay.
We're going to start you guys now.
Tight
If you need
10.
more time, we'll figure out the wiggle room.
We can fudge it.
Go ahead, you guys.
All right. Jump in there. Who's going first?
You guys ready?
So, what do you guys most like? Your personnel selves. What's most like you and your characters? Like, what do you share in common with them?
Well, for me, it's the sneaker love. I have a ridiculous amount of sneakers at home that I just love to showcase, and they roast me about them because I made them enter raffles for me at the same time. So yeah.
She's like, guys, at 3 o'clock, I'm going to need you to put your emails in. And make sure you keep hitting refresh. All right, get your credit card information ready. I will pay you back.
It's true.
Like, what's your problem? For me, the reason I did this show in the first place is because Keef himself reminded me a lot of me, where politically I would just kind of keep my head down and I just wanted to act. I just wanted to be an artist. I didn't really know the first thing about politics or what was going on or even around me, so I would just kind of keep my head down and just go about my business until everyday life would continue to slap you in the face, and then at some point you have to go, all right, man, enough. And so that really made me connect with the show.
Yeah, I think just the recreational drug use is what drew me to the character. Yeah. So, story of my life.
Also, the not washing of the legs.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah.
Leave that out.
There's a lot of me in Gunther. A lot.
Is it true you broke your back once jumping off of something?
That is true, yeah.
Yeah. He is Gunther for real.
Yeah.
He jumps off of a roof of a home.
Season 3, we'll cover that.
You hear that, Disney?
And so, yeah, well, for your point, I think we all agree that sneaker apps is the devil, right?
Yeah.
They got them on the whole tag team. But talking about shoes really quick,
Okay.
in a particular part of the season, what would you all do if really the government was using 5G to emit signals through your shoes?
I'm not fully convinced they're not.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, I know Nike used to have this chip you could put in the shoe once, and it would track how many steps you walked, and you could put it in. I was like, man, that's invasive, but I had them, and I loved them. I got my watch that tells, I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, we have it everywhere else. We have it in our homes. We have it, I mean, it's literally everywhere. So I wouldn't be shocked by it, but I'm just one man. I keep trying to mobilize T. Murphy over here to help me out and take down the system.
T-Mobile.
But until then, I'm rocking those shoes, especially.
I'll tell you what, I can't get that righteous depending on what shoe it's in.
Yeah.
If it's in a pair of my off-whites, my Travises, you're not tearing up my damn shoes. I can tell you that right now. It's just going to be in there.
Sorry, I got a hell of a signal.
I gotta ask a slightly serious question because I love season 2. I want to ask because we have a lot of issues that we want to tackle, in our society. So that episode 1 really hit me. So what is your advice to other people that want to be activists? Like, how do you narrow down your focus? What do you gotta, prioritize? Talk to me about that.
It's people sometimes think when you're an activist you have to take on a grand scale of responsibility. They think everything is a home run, everything is knocking it out the park and doing one big thing. It's about getting on base. It's about keeping the conversation going, keeping people active and activated and wanting to get things done. You can be a soldier. You don't have to be in charge of the platoon. You can just be one person to get something done. If there's something I don't know about, or if we're talking about something like land acknowledgement, if I don't know anything about it, I'm sure there is someone who does. But if I know what's going on in my neighborhood, let's say I know about what's going on the south side, I could bring it to somebody who knows what's going on the west side. So then we can mobilize together and we can come up with some sort of strategy. You don't have to do it all by yourself. And there is no everything is an opportunity to educate yourself. And there's no race. You just got to keep doing it, keep building it, and keep growing. You know what I mean? Every small little thing that you can do matters, and it definitely helps.
Thank you for that.
My question is, what are you guys' personal activists? What are your things that in your community you guys want to work on individually?
That's a really good question. I mean, especially in today's day and age, there's so much stuff that's coming at us all the time. Even with the war in Ukraine and just personal politics in America. Like Lamorne was saying, it's like it can almost feel overwhelming. But like I do think the most important part is to, keep that open mind and educate yourself and listen. That's just like the baseline of it all. Don't close yourself off to everything just because you're feeling constantly bombarded. That could wear you down, but it's so important to just keep that open mind and those open ears.
For me, I like to speak to the youth in like the city of Chicago, just talking about the entertainment industry and things of that sort, because there's a lot of people that want to do this but don't understand what it takes or don't have the leadership to be able to actually do it. So a lot of times I'll just sit with them and we'll talk about what's necessary and what's needed and kind of what you don't need, because there's a lot of people that are around that we'll try to take advantage of it. Fake managers, fake agents, a lot of things of that sort. So yeah, I just like to educate them on what's real and what's not.
For me, I do a lot of work with an organization called I Am. It's a charitable organization based out in Chicago, south side of Chicago. But the main objective is to provide medical assistance for folks in underserved countries. So we go to Haiti, Belize, Jamaica, Africa. A lot of folks don't have access to clean water, so I do a lot of work with Thirst Project or different water organizations to just give people basic drinking needs, basic hygienic needs. And even in LA, there was something we've done a couple of times now. I'm not. The pandemic slowed us down a little bit, but there's something called Socks and Sandwiches that a group of friends and I started literally in my house. We just would get basic needs for the homeless folks out in LA and just go pass out water, socks, sandwiches, basic hygienic needs, and just try to move that way. It's really small thing, but people seem to get excited about it. So.
Yeah, and I had another question. So after seeing the first episode, and I know you guys are doing activism, are you guys going to be tackling mental health? Because you guys have been saying overwhelmed and having those feelings. Will that show up in season 2 or in season 3 for that matter?
I do believe there was a conversation about it. My character goes through a form of PTSD in the first season, and obviously him seeking therapy, it calms the inanimate objects around him in the second season. There were talks, I'm not sure how far they went, about him relapsing in a way where he kind of, loses his shit again and is triggered by something. And the conversation will go towards in that direction. Because even when you deal with the unhoused folks, a lot of it, when you have conversations with them, a lot of them do suffer from mental illness. And that's one of the main reasons they're in the position that they're in right now. So that would be great to see it, to see us tackle something like that.
Cool. Thank you.
What makes this show so much different than other shows you guys have worked on? We've all done things. What makes this show special, different from other shows?
They took the best characters from those other shows and they put them.
It's like an all-star game, basically.
This for me is the first show that I got an opportunity to really put a nice portion of myself into the character. So the writing team is awesome, and they also like to ask questions to find out what's comfortable for us, and the best thing as far as what it will do for the character as far as talking to us and getting our input. So I think that's the best thing for me, being able to put a portion of myself into the character and bring Clovis to life.
Just showing you guys all being so funny. I mean, that definitely helps too.
Except for this guy.
We're at the 1
Also,
minute mark.
fuck you, T. Murphy. We are enemies.
That's the takeaway. He will be recast.
Somebody's gonna put their self into Clovis. All right.
So in this season, in a particular episode, there was an episode that focused on white guilt. Kind of want to know what was the behind the scenes or writer's room conversation to putting that episode together.
It's interesting. That's more of the writer's question. However, I do know that this show is a mirror. It's literally just a mirror.
Right.
So whatever's happening, we talk about it. So there are a lot of performative things. Folks were, I'm an ally and things like that.
Right.
And some people genuinely did feel bad. Some people, millions of people who were who did have this extreme case of guilt, you know, and we wanted to talk about it. We wanted to talk about it because I know for me as a I mean, the amount of times Blake kept coming up to me and going, "What can I do?"
I would just wash his feet on his head. Just whatever I could do.
Like, Blake, stop. I don't even enjoy this, but you missed my toe. Get
Whatever I can do.
No, it's just a mirror. That's why we, you know, when you watch the season, we address a lot of different things, and it comes from different sides of the coin.
Yeah.
It's just a mirror. It's just a mirror. Everybody could find themselves somewhere in this season.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
We did it. Let's we did it.
All right, I'm digging all this, all the different equipment.
How y'all doing today?
Good, man.
Well, how are you guys?
Good.
Big fan of season 2. Already watched it. Loved it. Yeah. So
excellent.
good. Yeah.
Excellent.
Same. And congratulations on the season 2. I was kind of shocked upon knowing it was available and it was coming. Pandemic, there's a lot of things that didn't really come down. So like to get it done, just congratulations to that.
Thank you.
I'll start with a soft question. What was the reception from the audience here live at WonderCon, which is amazing back in person?
Yeah.
But what was their reception to seeing the episode?
It was great. This is the first time
For all of us.
for it to ever happen because it was in the pandemic when season 1 dropped. So I know I was supposed to be backstage, but I ran out and sat in the audience, and I was getting closer and closer to there was this one group that was, you know, the perfect test audience because they were laughing, they were very vocal and everything, and it was just great just to hear different jokes hitting, and when you're in the writer's room, you have these memories of all of how they were developed and the things, and so it's just really nice to hear that, and I'm just so excited about that. And we're doing another screening up in San Francisco tomorrow, and that's, I mean, it's already, people are texting me going, "Can you get me in?" So, very excited by that. So.
All right.
Well, regarding the jokes, to piggyback off that, I'm a big fan of the comedy is all fair play, but since the show is titled Woke, and there's a lot of activism going on, a lot of issues covered, are there jokes that got left in the cutting room, or all the jokes are in, or talk to me about that?
I don't call anybody telling us no.
Okay.
I don't call anybody going that's out of bounds.
Okay.
But then again, I don't think we're like that anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, jokes die in the room because they're not hitting, or like, you know, but it's not like we put anything in there and they're like, nah, you gotta get that.
Thank you.
So what goes into picking what issues to attack? Because obviously we have a plethora of issues. So in the writing room, like how do you guys brainstorm on like we need to address this one? This is important. This issue.
I think that's a struggle that Keith has in season 2, in that my woke is not your woke. I care about these ducks, you care about the tree, but I mean, how do you process that, right? Woke is not one thing, it's multiple things, and I think Keith finds that out this season. And so as far as, I don't think we ever wanted to talk about an issue, like and sort of, you know, discuss that and give you ways on how to fix this issue. It's just the exploration of woke itself in season 2. Where we've moved from 2020 to now 2022, woke has become commodified. It's become big business. Just how do you navigate that world? So.
And we had they had a bunch of ideas for season 2 before I got on board, and then we had a really incredible writers' room who all had it was very diverse, but also just diverse points of view, and so we had really fun, long discussions in the writing room about a lot of these issues. And when we would find disagreement with people, we were like, "Oh, that's what we want to put in the show," is these different points of view instead of anything that felt too simple. We kind of stayed away from.
Yeah, it's important for us. You know, we have all these different characters, but it's important for us to show that each character has a legitimate point of view. You know, there's nobody that is just completely absurd. Like, there was an argument and a case to be made, and it started out really from the beginning with Keef and Clovis, which is like, Clovis is the exact opposite of Keef, but like the points he makes, he makes some valid points, and so that was important for us to sort of keep that going throughout with all the different characters.
It's all about us learning together. and growing as people in general, right?
That's it.
And so my question, so how did, other than being super surreal for you, how did this become a thing? I mean, this is season 2, but how did this become a thing?
The show became?
Yes.
How did it become a thing? I have my beliefs that we were one of the last productions that finished before COVID hit, and I just think that when it was a perfect storm of like, George Floyd and COVID and even a lot of people who were turned off by the name woke, like at some point they had to, it was the only thing they could watch. No, but it's just like, there were so many people who wrote like, oh my God, why didn't somebody tell me woke was funny? These reactions like, hey, I know I'm late to the party, but like, this is funny. And so I still see that all the time. And so I love that. I love the idea of people giving the show a try finally and being like, oh wow. So my entertainment lawyer said it the best. He said, this is going to be a slow burn. He said, he's a white dude. He's like, listen, white people are going to be turned off by it. He said, but somebody's going to tell them, you should check this out. You should check it out. And he said, it's going to build and it's going to build and it's going to build. And I will say another thing, just from visits from the sets, from executives, they really love the show because they said it's about something, and there's a lot of shows out there that aren't about anything, and so it's really nice to have this opportunity and this privilege to do this, and I honestly believe, and I'm a bit biased, but down on that floor, there's 1,000 shows down there that Hollywood can make that would be not as good as ours, but but there's opportunity in this industry to develop so much more stuff.
Who would you say that your target audience would be for the show?
Me. See, here's the thing, and I say this all the time, you have to make stuff that you'll watch. That I make comics that I would read, and I don't think I'm so unique that I don't fit there's a ton of people who think the way that I do, and that you can't anticipate what people are gonna like. You can't answer to Twitter. You can't go, this is what they say on Twitter, so we have to answer that. You have to make something that you like, and then that's the thing. When we finished the first season, I was like, you know what? When we finished the pilot, I was like, you know what? It's not in our hands. We did our best, and so when you get it, if it didn't go, I'm not content, but I am at peace. There's nothing that I was like, oh, maybe we should pull this punch, maybe whatever. It's just you go for it, and you have to go full throttle. And I'll take that all the way back to even pitching the show. When you go into a network, I swear they try to intimidate you with all their big successful posters, all the shows, and you're walking, and they make you feel smaller when you go in. You're like, oh man, and it's just, you go in there and you have to go in with the mentality they need me, they don't have what I can do, and so you go in there and that's the way you gotta behave, and it can be problematic if it goes to your head and you're but you have to have that mentality when you pitch the show, and I think you listen to positive outside voices, influences, and I think, but there's so much negativity out there, you can't waste your time just listening to that, it's terrible.
To kind of play off of that, the word woke obviously has a lot of reaction to it from a lot of different people. So how do you guys stay focused on what it really means, the authenticity of woke, without getting caught up in the commerciality and then the negative reaction? For me, I just,
I know that there's people out there that will just dismiss it. There's people whose job it is to look up woke, anything that is woke on the internet. Go in there and say, F this woke stuff. Like that's their job. That's their job. That's what they do. And again, like, that's going to exist. That's always going to exist. Woke is the new politically correct. Oh, we have to be woke. It's you can see it's being vilified. It's being just. And listen, you can't waste your time, crying tears over that. It's just like you go out there and you create and you hype the show, and hopefully, people will see it. And
we also try to address that in the show. I mean, we have a character who is an activist and gets mad and says, "Don't call me woke." So it's we try to really explore that word has become so loaded and is now used by people mostly who are using it to disparage other people.
Yeah.
And that was not the case when when you first made season 1. So it's changing quickly.
Yeah, but it's what there's nothing that we can do about it. All we can do is lean into it and have fun with it. I have Ron DeSantis with a sign that says "Stop the Stop Woke Act." And I'm ready to drop that for season 2. It's ready to go. Here we go.
I know we're on time, but I just feel like this is a super important question because this show has a vast amount of responsibilities, but as I look across the table as black men with these responsibilities, I need to know, how do you create the balance and stability in your life carrying such a heavy purpose?
Drugs. I'm joking. Family. I think COVID, that lockdown taught us that mental health was important.
Yeah.
For us all. That you have to sort of be careful with yourself and be kind to yourself. And like you said before, we're not curing cancer. It's a TV show. I'm not going to die over a TV show. You know what I mean? So just knowing that gives you that sort of balance you're looking for.
Yeah. Like I live in just outside of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and I take
crazy night last night.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I was calling my wife saying, "Now's the time to go shopping." No one's at the But I take meetings sitting out with my chickens, and just like just knowing like.
That's right,
If I was in LA, who knows? Maybe I would be in my pool. Maybe I'll go to what's the Malibu sushi place? Maybe we'll do it. But it's just like I know how this all started, and how it started from humble scribblings. A pen and a piece of paper, and it's something I'll always do, and I'm just thankful that it's gotten to this point, and I don't see it as a heavy burden. I see it as just we have the opportunity to have fun and create something with a lot of toys. There's nothing better than sitting there going, oh man, why don't we come up with an idea, and then in a few days, they create it with the props people create it, and the writers write it, and then suddenly it's there, and it's like, wow, this is great,
My mother, I was stressed out about something writing wise, so my mom, she says, "Wait, so people pay you to make shit up?" And then I'm like, "They do." I'm all good.
I'm a no.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank y'all so much. Appreciate it.